Okay, so after this, I'm going to stop comparing all of the new World of DC movies to what came before it. That's my vow. Because they've done enough now. Aquaman, I enjoyed well enough. Wonder Woman was good before that. Justice League was a blip. I love Shazam, which we're about to get into. So, yeah, I don't think it's fair to talk about the past things that I thought were failures. Let's focus on the future of the DCEU, and if Shazam's anything to go by, the future is bright.
Put the button back in the box.
Starring amongst others, Zachary Levi, Mark Strong, Asher Angel, Jack Dylan Grazer and Demon Hontu, I can never get his name right, directed by David F. Sandberg off of a screenplay by Henry Gayden. This is my review for Shazam. Shazam is the story of Billy Batson. He's a kid in the foster system. He's getting into a lot of trouble. He's trying to find his mum, who he lost at a very young age, and he's a very messed up little kid. He moves into a new foster home where his new foster dad is Jerry from The Walking Dead, so you were in good stead, son. And it's not long before he finds himself in a very creepy cave with a wizard, and the wizard gives him the powers to transform into a fully grown superhero with powers that he doesn't even begin to understand. So yeah, let's get it out of the way right off the bat. I loved this film. I loved so much about Shazam. I loved pretty much everything about Shazam. If I'm honest, it's easily one of the favourite films I've seen of the year so far. I mean, we're only in March, but still 3 months worth of movies. Because this is the most fun I've had in a movie for quite a long time, to be honest. Particularly in a DC. As I say, this is the last time I'm going to do it, but I was at some point in this trying to just imagine that Shazam was taking place in the same world as Batman vs Superman. And man, they're totally different. Very totally different. But it seems like the DCU or Worlds of DC had to have some kind of course correct, and they've been slowly doing that. And Shazam seems like the first step towards doing so. It feels like the first step towards fully going down this new road that they're trying to do, and I am all for it. Because that's the biggest takeaway for me from Shazam, is just how much fun it is. Start to finish fun. It's a runtime about 2 hours, 10 minutes. It never feels like it drags. Whenever it feels like it's about to start dragging, like we're about to get into the little bit of the ruts of the movies that we tend to get, it does something. It subverts the expectations, or it switches the story somewhat. It changes gears, and it injects new life into it, and it does this the whole way through. Even in the final act, even in the last act of this movie, where we're getting into, you know, the typical last act thing of a superhero movie, where it's just fighting and carnage, like that all kind of goes on, but there's more to it. And it's the same with everything in Shazam. There's always just that little bit more to it than they actually needed to do, really, to appeal to kind of the mass audience. But they just go that extra step, and I really appreciated that because it made all of the difference. The script is so smart. The jokes in this, some of them are, like, I hurt a little bit from laughing so much at numerous moments, because this is, beyond it, before anything else, this is a comedy. It's a comedy superhero movie, or comedy action movie, but the comedy comes first. I think it's important to go into Shazam with that mindset, because it is, even in, as I say, the big dramatic moments, there'll be a joke or something to kind of play with that a little bit. And I remember when Thor Ragnarok was out, I'd said that the comedy was a little bit too much in that film. Like, I felt that they relied on comedy too much, that the dramatic stuff didn't get affected. This is probably about the same laugh ratio as Thor Ragnarok, but it feels like it's just been done smoother. It does match in with those dramatic moments. Like, the two things blend together, I think, extremely well. And when the action comes along as well, it's not quite as action-packed as other movies of this vein. I think people might expect more action than there actually is, but when it does come, it's just as solid. And again, you can combine the action with the drama and the comedy, and it all goes together so well. This is one of the best scripts, I think, for a movie in a hell of a long time. Particularly one of this sort. Particularly a movie that's designed to just be family fun. David F. Sandberg's directing is brilliant. I mean, he was a YouTuber. He did Annabelle Creation. It seems like the DC are taking a leaf out of the Marvel book, really, of how they're getting their people on board to direct these films. Like, he's not known for big blockbuster action comedy movies, but he's come on, given a different approach to it and a different spin to it, and it's paid off in dividends. And then there's the cast. They're all great. They are all great. And we've got to start with Zachary Levi, who I've loved since Chuck. Chuck, amazing show, and he was the heart of that show. He was the born lead for Chuck. He's also the born lead for Shazam. I can't think of any other actor out there that could have brought the same level of charm and innocence and wide-eyed child optimism and excitement to the character of Shazam as Zachary Levi. He absolutely nails it in every single aspect. He just gets this character. He just understands it. He understands how much fun there's meant to be into it, and he imbues it with it in every single scene that he's in. And I loved all of the foster kids. All of them. I wasn't expecting them to... I'm not familiar with the Shazam lore, really. I kind of tried to stay away from it and go in with this with fresh eyes. So I wasn't expecting them to play quite as big a part as they were going to. I knew that his friend, Freddy, has a big part to play in this, but I didn't realise that the other kids as well would have their own time in the spotlight, really. They get their own share of the scenes. I wasn't expecting that, and if I'd known that going in advance, I may have been a little bit cautious about it, because get a group of kids together, it doesn't always work out well. But kid actors, they're getting better and better as the years go by, and this lot are amazing. All of them are, but there is one I have to single out of kind of the second tier of characters. Faith Herman, who plays Darla in this one, may be the sweetest kid I've ever seen in a film. Amazing comic timing from her, and she's so young, but she gets it. She knows exactly the way to deliver a line. She knows exactly the kind of right long pause to take, the right little look to give. Like, she's a little star coming up easily. I was really impressed by her. And yeah, all of the foster kids as well, but I just wanted to give her special mention. I do have to talk about Freddy, though, because he is, aside from Billy, the kid who gets the most to do, and he's great fun. He steals scenes left, right and centre when he's in them. There's such just a fun sense of this character, but also showing the vulnerable side to him as well. It's not afraid to have a vulnerable moment and undercut it with a joke, and this character's the one that does that a lot of the time. But he's not just comic relief, he's just as integral to the plot as Billy is, really. And I even like the villain. I'm not even saying there's a villain problem for Shazam, because honestly I don't think there is. I get the villain's motives, I get, played by Mark Strong, I get how he got from where he was as a kid, like we see him in the opening bit of this film, and then we check back in on him later on, and I can understand how we got from point A to point B. And that's the main thing for me with the villain. If I can understand why their motivations and why they got from a place to a place, and it's done with conviction, then yeah, I'm all for it. And I love Mark Strong anyway. He's also a very, very funny actor, and his villain isn't responsible for a lot of the laughs, but there's one scene in particular, one joke, that I've already put on my list for the best moments in movies in 2019, because it was hysterical. And that was largely down to Mark Strong being able to play such a good straight man. Issues with the movie then, because as much as I just love to be here just saying, this film's great, go watch it, which it is, and you should, I do have some problems. They're quite minor in the grand scheme of things. The character of Billy is a dick for the first half an hour or so of this movie, and I get it. Both of the main issues I have with this movie, actually, I kind of get why they've done it, but it still doesn't make it all right for me. But yeah, Billy, bit of a dick for the first half an hour, more so than I think he needed to be to get the point across, because obviously his arc in this is to get him from beginning in one place and then have him be somebody else by the end of the film. Like, that's fine. I don't think they needed to make him quite as big of a dick as he was for the first bit of this. I think they crossed the line a little bit, just a smidge there. Some of the magical elements of this as well, some of like the origins of the Shazam powers is very much glossed over, but again, I kind of see why they did that. You don't want to spend too long on that. I just feel like it was a little bit too glossed over. I would like to have known a little bit about the lore mythology, or a little more about the lore mythology, just to make me really understand where the wizard character in this is coming from. I don't think it necessarily hurt the movie that we didn't. It's just me personally, I would have just liked a little bit more. But as I say, I understand why. We just want to kind of get through that bit and get to the fun. So yeah, they're really the two issues that come to mind. There's a few other little tiny things here and there, but nothing that's really worth mentioning. Nothing that's affected my enjoyment of this overall, because honestly, guys, I love this. Absolutely love this movie. This is exactly what I wanted it to be. I'm so pleased to see the DC universe really having fun. They started to with Aquaman, and they've really kind of gone full force on the fun on Shazam, and it's paid off in dividends. Some of the best jokes I've seen in ages. I really laughed at this. And it sets up future movies in an interesting sort of way as well. Like, I'm excited to see where it goes. Once everybody's seen it, we can all talk about spoilers, then yeah, come and chat to me over on Twitter about it, because I've got some interesting thoughts about where this could go. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for all of these movies again now. And maybe I'm just getting swept up in the joy of Shazam, but it's a happy feeling. I'm happy to be there. I'm happy to be genuinely excited about the DC Worlds of DCEU thing again. I'm very, very pleased about that. I'm going to give Shazam a 9 out of 10. Have you been able to see Shazam yet? If so, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And do hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of them. There'll be a review for Dumbo coming up, I think, tomorrow. Should be able to get that one up. So look out for that too. You can follow me on Twitter at JoeJulians. Thank you very much for watching this review, and I will see you on the next video.